Alright, so the first book is Can Science Explain Everything? This is written by John C. Lennox, who is a Christian mathematician who works at Cambridge University over in England. He's worked there for the past, I think, like 37 years or something crazy like that. And it's a really quick little book. I think it's, how many pages is it? 130, 125, something like that. And it's a pretty easy read. It took me the longest because of all of the writing that the previous person who owned this copy wrote. They really made a mess of it and made it very hard to actually read the book because half of the text was overlaid with their own writing. So that was a little difficult and definitely slowed me down. But the book itself is really, really good. It's whether or not science and Christianity in particular can kind of work together and coexist, I guess. And it's really, really interesting. I really like his writing style, and obviously he's Christian and a scientist, which I just graduated with a degree in science, and I am also a Christian. So I really just wanted, to see someone else's worldview on that. And yeah, it's really, really good. I would highly recommend. He talks about things like miracles and how science doesn't just fit the role of science, I guess, and same as Christianity, how they can kind of work together and merge in ways that you wouldn't expect. So yeah, I would highly recommend this one. The next one in the pile is Secret History. This is written by Donna Tartt, and it is my least favorite book on the readings that I did. This is actually one that my cousin recommended. It is her favorite book, and she thought I would really like it. If you don't know anything about it, it's kind of a definitely a dark academia book, and it's not really a mystery. I don't want to give it away, but I guess I can say this because it is the first page, but basically it's a group of kids who commit murder and how they navigate that and what led them up to it, kind of thing. A bunch of college students, I should say. And it was the hardest, or the thing that I disliked most about it was all of the characters are so unlikable. They are the most stuck up group of people that you will ever read about, I'm convinced. And I have a really hard time reading books where you can't or don't like any of the characters. There has to be at least one that you can be like, okay, you're rooting for that one person. And this book does not have any of them. So that was probably the hardest thing for me, is the whole time I was reading, like, why are you guys doing this? There's no reason, and that sort of thing. So it took me less than a week to read, but it was hard for me. I just really had a hard time with this book because, and some people don't, like my cousin, it's her favorite book, and a lot of people, when I read the reviews, they were on the same boat. They really, really liked it. And then there was the other people who were like, this is one of the worst books ever because the characters are so bad. That being said, her writing style is really, really good, and it's very calming, I guess. It feels like an autumn book. Like you should read this in the fall with, leaves falling and everything. And so, and some authors just have that style, I guess, where you just want to be cozy and read it while it's raining out or something. And that's definitely one of those books. This is definitely one of those books. And yeah, her writing style is just very calming in a weird way. It was just mostly the characters that I did not like. Thirdly, I actually have a short story. So this is The Birds by, I'm going to butcher her name, but it's Daphne du Maurier, I think, something like that. She wrote Rebecca and Jamaica Inn, which I also read. I really love Jamaica Inn. Had a harder time with Rebecca, but I really love the house in Rebecca, which I know it's supposed to be like a creepy house, but I love the house. It's like my dream house right there. But anyways, this book is actually just a short story. This one has a bunch of short stories in it, but I only read The Birds. It's one of her more famous short stories and was actually made into a movie. I've not watched the movie, but I know that it is a movie. And it's really, really good. It's one of those short stories that doesn't really have an ending. It just kind of leaves you to decipher or determine what happened next, I guess, and make your own ending, which, you know, I enjoy. It was only 40 pages, I think, long. 39. And yeah, it was really good, really short. And again, one of those books that feels like it should be read in the fall. But yeah, super, super good, super, super easy. I think you read it in less than an hour or something like that. It was super easy. And very interesting. Yeah, it definitely has like a Edgar Allan Poe feel to it almost, like the Fall of the House of Usher. Kind of one of those books, sort of, short stories. But yeah, it was super good, so I would recommend this one as well. The next one I have is Confessions by St. Augustine. This was written in, I think, like 500. Wait, hold on. 397. And so a very long time ago, but it's very good. It's about St. Augustine realizing that he was living a life of sin and that he wanted instead to dedicate his life to God. And yeah, this is just the story of how he came to do that. So yeah, very, very good. I read it with my Bible every night, so super good. The next one is Silent Spring, which was written by Rachel Carson in 1962. This book was actually, it kind of started the environmentalist movement. She was a biologist, a marine biologist, and she started noticing a bunch of trends with the pesticide DDT, where it would be sprayed onto an area and literally everything would die from it, including birds and plants, and it was people sometimes, and just causing a lot of harm to the environment. And she realized this and wrote this book and got DDT banned actually in North America, or at least the United States. So it's a really, really good book. It's a little slow to read. This one I started in May. And it's just slow because it is just talking about different kinds of pesticides. So, you know, it can be quite boring if you're not really into that sort of thing, and just kind of dry in spots. But it was super interesting to read, and I would highly recommend if you guys are interested in that kind of genre, or I guess learning more about the history of the environmental movement. And finally, we have Wives and Daughters. I finished this one last, and it was so good. It's such a good book. The only downside to it is it doesn't actually have an ending. Despite its size, it does not end. She died, Elizabeth Gaskell. She died before finishing the book, which was very sad. She got very close. It was within like a couple chapters of the book ending, and she passed away from a sudden illness. So this one took me the longest to read because of that. I got very sad learning that, because I bought it without realizing it didn't have an ending. And so when I was looking something up about it, it popped up that the book doesn't actually have an ending, and it broke my heart. So I put it aside for a couple months, just being sad that it wouldn't actually conclude. But then when I picked it up again, I finished it pretty quickly. But yeah, it's a really, really good book. It's basically just like a Jane Austen almost. She's written North and South and Cranford. Those are the two that I've read, and she's a really great author. She can be a little slow at some times. It's just kind of hard to get through, but yeah, I would definitely recommend this book. It definitely was sad that it didn't end, but it was still super, super sweet. Alright, so those are the books that I read in July. If you guys are interested in what I'm reading now, or want to learn how to make a book journal, this is something that I started doing last year. It's my second year doing it, and it's really, really fun to do. It's basically, you just create different little things that you fill in for each day that you've read, and then write down the books that you've read, and quotes and just notes about the book. So it's really, really fun. If you'd like to see this, just comment down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And I will see you guys next week.